Good afternoon, welcome to M.M.E. I'm your host, Blind Prime. For today, we're going to be talking about the Takara-Tomi anti-gravity flight stand. I purchased two of these in two separate boxes of them. And if you decide not to do the flight stand gimmick, the anti-gravity gimmick that uses you got to cut the clothesline or not clothesline, fishing line up into the correct strands. It's a mess. It's a mess. And if you screw something up, it won't work. So instead, you can just take the two bases and turn them into two separate flight stands because they give you enough pieces for that. And honestly, two flight stands is better than one flight stand, even if the one flight stand makes them look like they're hovering. I think it's better, I think it's cooler, and we're going to talk about them today. They are really, really good flight stands, especially for Tetrajets, which are famously heavy. And if you're like me and you've bought other types of flight stands, like the clear acrylic ones, mine keeps snapping. I had a night where four of them snapped while I was moving different transformers around that are on flight stands. It was just snap, 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 snap. And I finally went, I gotta figure out something new. So I've been looking for something to use, something new, and these guys showed up on sale on Amazon a few weeks ago, and I got the last ones. I got one of them just to see how it was, realized I absolutely loved it, and then noticed there was one more on sale for $10, half off, and I picked it up as well. Before we get into the review of these guys, if you're wondering where you are and what you've discovered, well, you've discovered blind_prime. I have devoted this entire YouTube channel to raising awareness for the blind through alternative means and methods. This is including, but not limited to, action figure reviews of stories, verbal instructional videos like my Blindformer series or my Blind Builds series, where I verbally instruct you how to build things, either through Lego or like MODOK. I verbally instruct you on how to assemble the MODOK, and the Bone Breaker that came out in the Bone Breaker BAF wave last year for Marvel Legends. Things like that I describe verbally, and my action figure reviews are for two things. Number one, they are to help the visually impaired and the blind, but you have a better understanding of what's out there, and that allows them to have more knowledge on decision making. When they can better understand what the action figure is, they can make a better decision on whether or not to purchase it for themselves. And that's why I do my More Than Meets the Eye series. It's literally everything but what you can see. Hence the name More Than Meets the Eye. Haha! I thought that was pretty clever. And actually, a friend of mine who comments occasionally on this series, on my channel, he's the one that mentioned it, and it just kind of, I was like, it's perfect. It's wonderful. So that's why it's called More Than Meets the Eye, because we don't talk paint here. We talk the weight of the figure, we talk the sculpt work of the figure, we talk the molding of the figure, we talk loose joints, we talk tight joints, we talk everything that you can feel and touch and smell. And but we never, or hear, and we don't talk about what you can see, because on this channel, it's not about the sight. And if the video goes blurry occasionally, just take that as an opportunity to understand better what a visually impaired person goes through when they don't have their glasses on. That's similar to what they see. So that just gives you a moment to have a better understanding and raise your awareness of the visually impaired and the blind. That's what this channel is all about. And please check out my Building Braille series. Ongoing now. We're covering the letter N this week. Now, let me get into two N letters there. Let me get into this amazing flight stand and talk about its bonuses and its negatives, which, honestly speaking, other than the anti-gravity bit and the fact that there aren't enough arms, that's it. I would like there to at least be one more set of arms that had a different length, and I would like the anti-gravity bit just to be non-existent. And those are my two negatives on this series. So let's go ahead and take away this guy. I have this Tetrajet with the little Scout doohickey. I forget the name of the Scout from the first episode of Transformers. He's the one that came with the Ark from Kingdom. And I have him on top of this little pillar. This pillar's neat. You get this little piece that comes with the pillar. It's got a C-clamp that allows you to clamp onto the side of the pillar, but you can do it on the vertical, like I have here right now with the Scout, or you can move it horizontal, like what I have with Laserbeak, which one of these has Laserbeak. I think that one has the Laserbeak. So That's how Laserbeak is sitting there. And this bar bit is a surprise to me. I didn't know this tall bar, which is about, I'd say, 6 inches. And let's see if it's the height of a Cobra bat. Let's see, Mr. Bat, come on around here, and let's take a look at you compared to this bar. This bar and you are, yeah, the bar ends at the shoulder. Yeah, just below the shoulder of the Cobra bat here. Let me get my fingers out of the way so people with eyes can be like, ooh, there you go. Yeah, yeah, ooh and ah. All right, now let's set him off over here to the side. Move him around, bring him over here. There you go, nice and steady. Cool. So let me go ahead and take away this guy so I can talk about some of the other features that this thing has. And I have the fourth stand without anything on it. Go ahead and remove the Tetrafighter from there and set it off over here to the side. And go ahead and set this stand off over to the side. I have a stand without anything on it. That's the stand we're going to utilize to really talk about this really cool flight stand. So on this one, I have Jazz, his Origins Jazz. And what I've done here is this flight stand comes with this really cool right angle arm that you're supposed to use for the anti-gravity bit, but it has a siege port on each side. And this set, let me see if I can find it in here. So let's go ahead and move this stuff around for a second. All right, there we go. Set you there, set you there. I have one more of these. I actually have two more of those in there. So this should be easy enough to find. And they should just be rolling around in here somewhere. So there are these two peg bits here. This one. Each of your little trees that you have to pull all the pieces out of to assemble this flight stand. Each one will come with one of these pegs, and it's a double male peg for Transformer siege ports. You get a nice double peg here, and this allows you to do some pretty fun things, like plug it into the female end on the side of this right angle arm, and then plug it into the back end of your Jazz's hand. See, I'll just spin it around a bit more, and then you can get a better understanding of what's going on there. This is well, shoot. Yeah, so it's advisable that you don't go, moving them around too much while you have a heavy Tetrafighter there. Good grief, these guys are heavy. So, even whenever it's got the entire attachment. But Laserbeak's fine, I think. Are you good, Laserbeak? Your head's fine? Yeah. Laserbeak's good. Laserbeak's good, guys. No worries, no worries. We saved Laserbeak. And we saved Origins Jazz. But it's nice to have those pieces removed. Laserbeak, it had the attachment of, if you take this bit off here, this is a square attachment piece, and it has a tiny C-clamp on it. This is very cool about this series, and we're going to get into what I have, this Jazz in a second and how he's on there. But I wanted to mention this while it was fresh. So, they did this really fun. Each of these ports, each of these adapters that you can plug into siege ports, has a shape. The round one is the big one. The square one, like this one, is the medium-sized one. And then the smallest one is a triangle. And that is awesome, especially since you use the smallest one to put Tetrafighters on their stands, like I have right here. And it's a little triangle. And it gets to the smallest port. I think it's fun that they did that. So I'm going to put this C-clamp back so I don't lose it by accident. There we go. And I use it to clamp into the hollow section on the back of Laserbeak. There's that little hollow section area, and that C-clamp is the perfect size to just clip in there, and it doesn't damage anything, unless, of course, you were to knock it off. So let me go ahead and take the Jazz off. What I got going on here, and that was something I wanted to showcase because of the way they've built these stands. There are a lot of expansion ports on these stands. There's 5 of them per stand. You got 4 on the ring around it, and then you have 1 in the center, and then you have 2 additional ones if you want to include this very stiff right angled arm. Go ahead and unplug him from there. Now, I put that double-ended male peg into the side of the stiff arm to get that impression. I figured it would be fun to showcase, just to see if I could put 2 figures on the same stand. And I'm very happy and surprised that I can. I'm constantly amazed by how well this works. And all of the plastic used in this thing is thick, heavy stuff. This is some very sturdy plastic. This stuff isn't breaking. You're not going to have, like I had, the night of shattering, where you had a bunch of flight stands break. No. This is designed to withstand the weight of Transformers, and especially if you do it like I've done it here with the right angle and the other jout, they kind of rub against each other a bit, and they help support one another. Just slightly, not very much, but it's enough. It's that added bit. So we're going to set this complicated flight stand off to the side and move you over here. There you go. Set you over here. There we go. And we've got, where is that flight stand that I'm not using anything on yet? Where did I put it? Because I want to talk about it. Oh, that's Jazz. Okay, this is this flight stand. Cool. Where's the other one? I'm missing a flight stand, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. Maybe it ended up over here. It was just sitting nice and pretty, waiting on me. I tell you guys, this is a cursed video series. This has been one of the longest shooting days I've had in a while. And things just keep going weird. Oh, here it is. Cool, I found it. I had it stationed off. Well, that was lucky. Y'all saw that, right? I caught it. I didn't even mean to catch it. Okay, before I take this guy apart, I'm going to put it back together real quick. This is my favorite one. I have the Origins Bumblebee shooting at this Tetrafighter. I thought that was really fun. Somehow he's gotten all messed up, though. Origins Bumblebee, you're supposed to be standing here, moving your gun up. Come on, there you go. There you go. Yeah. I think that's fun. I don't think Origins Bumblebee's joints can withstand that pose too much, but I thought that was a fun little pose. You have him shooting the Tetrajet in the side. It's just neat. I really like this set. Let's set this one off to the side. Maybe it will stay together. Bumblebee, oh man. Why are you messing around with Red Alert? Move over here, Red Alert. There you go. Bumblebee. Now you guys don't break. Just set down. There we go. Perfect. Wonderful. Something's listening to me today. So, we've talked about the tiny square clip for the C-clip thing, but here's the largest C-clip, and this one allows you to plug in blast effects into it, and that is fun because now you can have a blast effect plugged into that bar that raises up and down if you want it. Now that I have this stand all by itself, we're going to set this blast effect off to the side, and we're going to finish talking about the stands with just this guy and his arms and some pieces. So this, when you came across, we get this circle. When I say circle, I'm going to be talking about the types of adapters. There's circle, square, and triangle. And I'm talking about the circle adapter right now, which is the largest one, and it has a big old C-clamp on the end. This C-clamp is a 5mm peg, so peg hole. So you can plug a 5mm peg into it if you wanted to get a right angle on your stand. So like this thing up here, let's go ahead and unplug the triangle, set the triangle off to the side, let's plug in the circle. We can plug in the circle sideways, so we're just going to plug that in like that, and now the circle is floating. Look at that, it's floating down. Now if you had a transformer that has male pegs sticking off to the sides, you can plug them into this. Yeah, see? Isn't that nice? I really appreciated that because there are some transformers with male pegs, and I'm like, if you were only female, I could if you were only a siege port instead of a siege peg, I could use you to attach to other things. But instead, you're a siege peg and not a siege port, so I can't attach you anywhere. But that allows you to attach things to things, and I think that's fun. You can use that outside of this stand in order to achieve some different looks in your Cybertronian city, if you're like me and using a lot of the Earthrise stuff to build a Cybertronian city in the background. Mine's looking alright. Now let's go ahead and remove this bar, and let's talk about this arm. Let's go ahead and remove it too. So the arm here is a fun little piece. It requires 1, 2, 3 screws and 3 nuts. So the screws have their specific screw hole that they can fit into, but the nut can't fit into the screw hole. You're going to have to put the nut in the nut hole. Now, there's the screw hole, there's the nut hole. So the nut hole is bigger, it allows the nut to actually fit in there. And it fits in nicely. It's a hexagon cutted hole, so that will slip in there and then lock down and allow you to tighten the screw through the stand into that. That's nice because in the previous stands that I've had and I've talked about on this channel, both of those sides, the nut could fit into either side, the screw side or the nut hole side. And if you're visually impaired or blind and you were building it and you didn't know to feel for the hexagrid that's in there, and you built it backwards. I built a couple of them backwards and I'm regretting it now because I can't use those pieces anymore. I can't unscrew the screw. All it does is the nut spins in the other side. And if I built it the other way around, I wouldn't have any problems. So remember that. That's a cool feature about this that I absolutely love and adore. I think this stand is worth the money. The fact that it costs $20 normally doesn't really bother me much with this stand because of what you're getting. You're getting a lot of cool little adapters with this guy, multiple little adapters. You're getting 2 separate stand pieces in the same spot. Also, these things have holes on the underside of them, and you would think they're siege ports, right? Yeah, no, they can be used as siege ports. Like we can plug a peg into that. Yeah, you can flip this upside down and use it like that. But what's advisable, at least what I advise you to do with this, is if you find how they're kind of lined up with one another, get yourself a nail, like find a nail head that fits into those holes perfectly, and then go ahead and put a few in your wall, and then you can slap this guy on the side of your wall. If you use some double-sided tape to make sure it stays stationary and those pegs will stop it from sliding down, then you can plug in some transformers and have them like flying out of the wall or something. This is a fun little piece. The fact that you can remove the center means you can lessen the weight of this, and that little rectangular hook there is perfect for just hooking it. Actually, yeah, that's perfect size for literally getting one of those nice hooks that you can put into the side of a wall and just slapping this guy on that hook. And if the hook is the right size and it doesn't have anything there, you can then take this piece and plug it back in when you have that wall hook sitting out from this rectangular slot, and that will lock it into place. And now the hook's going to come up just a bit. This thing ain't going anywhere. It's going to be flat against your wall. I think that's really good. I think it's really clever too. Or you can just use a screw with a very large head, and you can do the same thing. You can put this thing over that so the head is on either side, and then lock this thing back down. Any way is possible, but the fact that we get a stand here that allows for wall placement, it allows for ground placement, and if you got really creative, I'm sure using enough sticky tack and double-sided tape, you can also put it on the underside of your of the ceiling of your bookshelf, and then have something coming down from above. You can do a lot with this thing, and it has a bunch of pieces. I do highly recommend it. It's my new favorite stand, and in a couple of months I'm going to get a third one so that all of my Tetrafighters can keep flying. And honestly, every few months from now on, I'm going to try and pick up another one of these stands until every single Transformer in my collection has a stand. Once again, I thought it was the coolest thing in the world that you can put 2 separate Transformers on each stand. That's just enough space, and they counterbalance each other, so it makes the stand even more stable. As long as you don't put both Transformers on one side, it won't flip over. If you put one on each side, you're going to stabilize that center ring so much more, and you're going to lead to a really great looking collection. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and like I said, please tune in the rest of the week. I'm going to be covering Devastator all week because I gotta sell my Devastator on my Mercari shop in order to kind of afford the budget for the rest of the years on this channel, or at least chunks of the year. I'm still trying to figure that out. But go ahead and check that guy out. I'm trying to figure out exactly how much I should charge. I'm thinking 400 sounds reasonable. It hasn't really been messed with much, and people are selling them for a lot more online. But let me know in the comments below, is 400 unreasonable for my Devastator? It's the Combiner Wars one. Thank you for watching. Until next time, bye bye for now.